So, I hadn't played the game in a few days, and I thought I would want to go back and play something I haven't played in a while, and that's vampires. It didn't hurt either that the vampire decks are apparently the most popular videos on the channel. For some reason, everyone likes to watch vampire decks. And I can see why. They're pretty fun. Playing with the bleeding's nice. They have quite a few engines you can use. And the newer cards that came out a little while back, Unseen Elder in particular, and we'll be playing the Detlef also, just to mention him. They're very strong. Very strong in certain situations. Unseen Elder is very strong in general. So I want to make a vampire deck, but my issue with vampires that I've always run into is what is the win condition? There's a lot of decks that have a win. You can make a deck, right, and your win conditions, I'll outvalue them and have more points at the end. But in certain rounds, for example, say the Siege deck, right? Their win condition basically is they use Full Test, they use Blue Stripes Commandos, sometimes done Bannerman guy, and they win round 1. They go to round 3, and they play Siege, and they overwhelm you with Reinforced Ballistas, or whatever they're called. And if they get to that point, it's very hard to stop them. I like having some kind of scenario I can pull off where we can make it very hard for them to stop us, right? So if I set something up, I want it to make me win the game. I don't want to be set in a situation where my goal is to go to round 3 and oh look, I have Oberon King and Unseen Elder. Hopefully that's enough points. That being said, the other one, the win condition vampires usually had was Oriana. You'd give out bleeding everywhere, usually using the other leader ability. I'm using Force of Nature. And you get bleeding out everywhere, and then Oriana would get boosted every turn by, say, 5 or 6, and that's a huge engine. Issue with that is, it's not very consistent. She has to be ranged. You have to use her leader charges for her. And she gets really tall, so she dies to tall removal and resets. And it's not good in a short round. And usually vampires, I've had trouble with short rounds. So here's what we did. I went, played Force of Nature, I put in Koshchey and Caranthir. This solves my short round problem. Caranthir Koshchey with Force of Nature beats almost anything in a 4-card round 3. 3 or 4 card. 4 cards more typical, right? Because you can know that you'll have one of the combo pieces in your hand and you'll have Naglfar the other one at the top of your deck. Or you can draw into it. But in a 4-card round 3, you go Koshchey, Caranthir Koshchey, Force of Nature, then you have a couple other cards, maybe a couple of your 4 provision cards. That are 4 provision 7-point cards. And that's a ridiculous amount of points. That's what I wanted to set up, some kind of win condition like that. We actually have 2 conditions I like setting up here. The second one is She Who Knows. So we're playing She Who Knows. The reason why is because vampires are very good in the bronze low provision cards. They get a lot of value there. So we have a lot of provisions to work with the golds. So we went for She Who Knows. If we can set up a She Who Knows resilience carryover for round 2 or 3, especially from round 1 into 2, it is almost always a sign we're going to win the game. And the reason why is because it helps us bleed the opponent down till we have our Koshchey Caranthir combo for round 3, and that beats them. But She Who Knows carrying over can even make you win a 2-0 or something. It really is a ton of points. And she is very powerful. And with the Unseen Elder we mentioned, we have Crimson Curse. This is just for value. We'll talk about the rest of the cards now. Crimson Curse is fantastic value. It's 16 if everything goes off, which is perfect. It's a lot of points. We want to play it in a longer round. Obviously, you don't want to say this for round 3 and be in like a 3-card round 3 where you go first, for example, then you can't play this right away. It gets 6 points, then maybe 2 bleeding or 4. It's not as good. Then we have Detlef. Detlef and Crimson Curse in the same round. It's pretty good. This Crimson Curse creates the 2 Ekamaras. You can put Detlef between them, get 4 more turns of Blood Moon. It's alright. There's no reason in the deck particularly nothing we're saving this for. So when you watch the games, I might seem to throw these out more than some people would, but it's really just trying to set up a scenario for either She Who Knows or round 3 with Caranthir Koshchey. With the Koshchey, Caranthir, and Patrol, and the Naglfar, this is just the package basically for this. I'm one of those people who normally does not play a Defender. I like to have another engine option over the Defender, unless I absolutely have to. For example, Colgrim, right? If you play Colgrim, you have to have Colgrim Defender, because if he dies, your strategy dies. But if I have And some other actually probably, if you watch them, you'd see like I have no Cave Troll but Unseen Elder and She Who Knows, because I don't really. I'd rather have, say, the Crimson Curse added in than the Cave Troll. But that's all personal preference. But here we're definitely playing Cave Troll. The reason why is it's so good protecting Koshcheys, and it's so good protecting She Who Knows and Unseen Elders. There's enough cards I want to protect that I value having the Cave Troll in the deck. And then we have, I mentioned Caranthir. If you really need to, you can Caranthir the Cave Troll to get a second defender in a round. It'll have 4 armor still, so it's fairly difficult to remove. A 5 damage bronze will still kill it, but it's an option. And if you want to go crazy, you can do it on Unseen Elder. Then we have Gale. I like Gale. Gale can be swapped out for a Parrying Phantom if you want. Everyone knows the Parrying Phantom, right? The differences are Phantom has Thrive, or not Thrive, it has +1 each turn if you don't use the Order and 3 damage. They both have 3 damage. Order on a Parrying Phantom, deploy on Gale if it has Bleeding. Normally your Parrying Phantom, before it dies, will probably, or you want to use this order, say it gets to like 8 or 9, right? And then you get 3, that's 12 value. Gale, you can put Bleeding on a lot of stuff. You can bleed stuff down pretty far. If Gale hits a 5, which is pretty common, it's about the same value as a Parrying Phantom. And I wanted to go with Gale for the deck. And Gale is such a high upside. I was playing someone, I don't remember when. This was a long time ago. I just remember when Gale first came out, I had an old Spear Tip with it, and it was crazy. But we'll see if we can get anything good out of Gale in these games. You can definitely play a Parrying Phantom if you want to, though. We have Parasite. I don't feel right without the Parasite 6 removal. It kills a lot of things that are a problem. It kills King Foltest, which is one of the problems we want to deal with. We do not want to deal with a Dunvenomer Bootstraps Commando deck with all 3 rounds going crazy, then like a Siege to finish with. I don't want to deal with King Foltest getting absolute nuts value or stuff like that. Queen of the Night, I wanted to Purify, and there's actually 2 Purifies in the deck. But Queen of the Night, it gives you 4 Bleeding, which is actually 9 for 6 is pretty solid, but it's not amazing, right? So the Bleeding is a secondary option. Usually you want it for the Purify if you're going to use it. The other thing is we have several things we want to Purify in our board. Koshchey, or Caranthir Koshchey, Unseen Elder, you can Purify She Who Knows. Purify gets a lot of value. Then we're playing the 2 Andrega Larvas. We don't have too many tall cards, but we have enough of a spread on our units that we can thrive these up a decent amount, and they get a lot of points that way. Also, I like having them with Koshchey, just seems thematic enough. With the Flaters get a good amount of value. Normally you'd play them with the Blood Scent, right? You'd play a Flater, use a Blood Scent charge, and it'd give Vitality 3. Kind of like a Hamadryad with the leader charges from Squirtle. But in this case, we're just playing it. Usually you want to have a Necrat set up, or you want to have some other kind of bleeding application, say an Unseen Elder setup. Alp's an option you could use for this. I just chose to add Andrega Larvas instead. And then drop down a couple things to the force, but you could use Alp for this. Necrat's probably the best thing to use with it. Necrat's really good. We are playing Crystal Skull. Crystal Skull and Necrat's very strong for a round 1. And if your opponent can't answer it, double Necrat just bleeds everything like crazy. Our second Purify here is going to be a Feast of Blood. I quite like Feast of Blood. It purifies and does 3 damage. That's nice. It gives 3 bleeding if you have a vampire. That's nice. So it's 6. It does essentially 6 damage after 3 turns. Purifies, sets up bleeding for your card synergies. It's really solid in the deck. I considered running 2, but I didn't because I added this Kikimor Worker here instead. There's a Kikimor Worker and 2 Unal Conquerors. These are 7-point bronze 4s. 4 Persian cards, that is. They're really here just because we're playing Andrega Larvas to thrive up, and we want to thrive Koshchey. But we're not playing Azrael, Yigrin, and Goliath like normal. Normally you'd see those in a Koshchey deck. Instead here we just have the She Who Knows. But these 7-point guys are what we're really going to rely on for the thriving. Then we have the Garkin. It's a solid 4, gets a point every turn if there's bleeding. Brux is a great 4 provision card, just 2 bleeding and thrive. This is the deck, and yeah, I think that's about it. Let's see how it does in some games. Jumping right into this first game here. We already drew our cards. We didn't mulligan yet. I think we're going to keep all of these. I don't want to get rid of too many bronze cards. We're going up against either Hyperthin or Mill. We have Caranthir Koshchey. which is really good if it's mill, because we won't lose that combo, and that combo will basically win us the game, because we can use that to win a round 2. So operator here. So like I said, if we have Caranthir Koshchey round 2 and we win round 1, we've won this game. That is our objective here. I think it's mill, and okay, let's be honest, everyone here thinks it's mill. But yeah, our goal here, Caranthir Koshchey round 2. Anything else, I don't care what else we have, it's all expendable for that goal. So I guess we'll open Nekarat. We want to get some value going here. If he's playing mill, he might not have removal, which is something that tends to happen. So we have this Nekarat. I don't think he'll be able to kill it since he's playing mill. But we have to be careful of the bleeding. He'll be able to return the bleeding things to his hand if he's playing teleport. The newer version of this deck, I believe, play teleport, and then he gets more value than he normally would from teleport. Normally it's just a banish off our deck and no point gain. But if he banishes something or if he returns something that's bleeding, he will gain value. He did get his Artorias Vigo already. And there goes our Unseen Elder. Doesn't matter. Like I said, Caranthir Koshchey is where it's at. Anything else in our hand, we can get rid of for that objective. And if it's in our deck, we don't need it anymore. We don't have access to it until round 2. And our round 2 is basically sealed with Caranthir Koshchey as long as we have it. So anything vanishes from my deck, I don't care how good it is, I'm not too concerned about it. I'm only concerned with winning this round. Gherkin's going to be pretty good here. We'll keep the bleeding up. There's a Kingslayer. Like we said, I don't think he can kill Nekarat. And if he did, it would take away from his tempo of managing Cave Troll. Doesn't matter. We don't need him. We're just going to ignore that. We'll play this other guy. Get another engine going. Bunch of points. Another Nekarat activation. As long as we can keep Nekarat going, it's pretty solid. I mentioned that he can teleport back to his hand and remove the bleeding, but I want to set up for Gale potentially. Gale coming down would give us a lot of value. There's a teleport anyway. Gale can still come down for value. I don't think he's enough teleport for everything, but we'll hold on to Gale because it's a swing they may not expect. We lose Detlef. You know what? He's banished 3 cards of an Unseen Elder, Cave Troll, and Detlef. That's fine because we have what we need in our hand. I think some people get, I've seen people get tilted in this scenario, like, oh, he banished 3 cards or my 3 best cards. There's not really much you can do about it. Brathin's coming down, he's getting a lot of points here. But just keep in mind that what our win condition here is for this game. And if it happens to you, just remember what your win condition is. Maybe he banished your win condition, in which case, I mean, there's not much you can do about it. Kingslayer, we can't have too many gold cards left for him to hit. Yeah, there's an Elf Conqueror. But Brathin's here is kind of concerning because it actually gives him a lot of point swing. Gale's going to be our play here. We'll take this guy out, do a big boost. That'll get our Nekarat able to do our bleed. That's pretty nice. Getting bleeding, more and more bleeding. There's Snowdrop. He's going to use his leader ability. Snowdrop will come down for 12. And then he will have more Envories for 7. That's 19. Return the guy atop his deck will come off as 24. 24 point swing here. That's as good as some of the finishers in the game are now. It's pretty big. Pretty big swing. This is what we're concerned about. He also has a Simulate off of that, so an extra 20, or another 2. So we'll go bring him to 26 for that swing. We're still in this though. Still in this. Let's play Crimson Curse. We don't want to hold on to that forever, because we're probably going to play it this round. He's going to keep going, I imagine. We won't get as much value as possible. He also still has Sunset Wanderers left. We want to get rid of that. There's Mata, so we will actually get full value out of our Crimson Curse eventually. Gherkin's not bad, actually. It's a solid card here. Probably worth about 7 or 8 points. Let's get some more bleedings. Drop down our Gherkin. Okay, let us pass the turn. Well, not pass. We'll end the turn, rather. We have 3 engines. 3 engines going every turn, plus our Nekarat. There's the return to the hand and their banish. That's fine. I wonder if there'll ever be enough cards where they can actually mill your round 2 if they have a perfect hand. I'm not sure. I don't think they would let that happen. So we'll keep doing banishes. Let's play this here. 3, and we'll give 3 bleeding. Still pretty close. He might pass, but he has his Sunset Wanderers for a big swing. And we just have Parasite because we're not playing Caranthir Koshchey. If here it looks like we need to play either one, I'll just drop the Force of Nature because it's worth it. There's Sunset Wanderers. Let's see how many points he's at. Do we drop Force of Nature here? Let's see, what's Parasite best on? We can kill off his Brathens. That's a potential engine. That puts him down to 65. He has several bleedings. We have 3 engines, though. I think he's going to pass. He can't have too many point swings left. But there's not really much to do about it, so we'll just drop our Koshchey. That should get him out. Caranthir Koshchey for round 2 was our plan, but I don't think we're going to get there without dropping one of them this round. So it's better just to drop the Caranthir, obviously. If we can keep Caranthir in, if we can keep Koshchey Force of Nature, that should still be good enough for round 2. Tibor, Nekarot's not bad. Honestly, if it's a win on even and we have Force of Nature, we probably still win. So we'll Paris. Look, this could play. I think I want him for round. No, play him here. Like I was saying, I think Force of Nature is just good enough for winning on even. Caranthir Koshchey was our plan, but he's gotten too many points. He got all of his big swings right. Snowdrop. He got Tibor, pulled a 2 off our deck. He got Brathens. Our original plan didn't quite work, but we'll adapt. We have Force of Nature. It doesn't. As long as we have playable cards here, we should be fine. He hasn't played the guy. Oh, that's good. There we go. This is exactly what I want to see. Naglfar, do we have any golds left? He's banished a lot of them. I don't think I want Naglfar. I think all these bronzes are better. I don't have a way to give bleeding. That's probably fine. Drop on El Conqueror. I don't think he has enough points to stop us here. He played all of his big swing cards in round 1, which was rather concerning because it ruined our original plan of saving Caranthir Koshchey for round 2. Which, I think I said a lot how much that was the plan, but plans have to change. Okay, he has this, that's GG. He can't recover from playing a 3-point card. We'll just play this out then. We have Bruxa, then we'll go for... There's no point in playing Force of Nature yet, in case he has 2 tall removals somewhere in there, which... unlikely, I admit, very unlikely, but there's no reason to play it when we don't have to. Experimental Remedy. This is going to be our Larva. I don't see what else it would be. But I don't know why I wouldn't go for that first and then banish. We would have gotten 2 more points that way. Not that it really makes a difference. We have too much of a swing here. If we go Force of Nature, Parasite, I guess we're going to have to Force of Nature boost our on a Conqueror to get full value. If we boost our Bruxa, we won't get a Thrive off for Force of Nature. If he has tall removal here, he can hit us with it, but Force of Nature, She Who Knows, will come down for 21 with the 2 Thrives. There's a coup. We can't bleed our on El Conqueror, and that'll be that. There's no way his last card has enough points. And then we'll go for Force of Nature. This will put us to 32, and he does not have a 23-point play left. I am 100% certain that he does not. Alright, we got the mill. He didn't actually mill us enough either, because we still would have drawn 3 cards round 3. Not quite sure what's going on with this teleport version, but we beat it, so GG. Another tactical decision here, it looks like. Mill or Hyperthin? Let's guess. Last one was Mill, so let's guess Hyperthin on this one. Who knows if that's what it is? We'll find out. Is it the same guy, actually? I should probably check that. Let's look at our hand first. Larva, Parasite. Do I want Parasite? Probably. 2 Garkins. Those are bronze engines. I don't think the Kiki More Worker is really the best, but real quick, let's see if this is the same. Oh, we're running out of time here. We'll check if it's the same guy after. We want the Kiki More Worker. I don't really want I'll Conquer that much either, but I don't think either Visa Blood. Well, Visa Blood we have 2 Garkins with, so we'll keep it. I don't think this is the same guy. Yeah, this is a different guy. So Nausicaa Sergeant here. With the boost, annoyingly, we cannot bleed this anymore. But what we can do... Well, here's the thing with the Drago Larva. If he's playing, like, standard... Well, if he's playing, like, a ball deck with a lot or with Brathins and Informant, he could get a bunch of larvas. That's the thing. The other thing is, do I care? Usually yes, because larvas would be pretty devastating here. But if he does copy it, we have Unseen Elder to deal with it. Theoretically deal with it, if he does copy one. Or more than one. So normally I'd be concerned, but if we have Unseen Elder, there's like, we kill one, there's 50% chance the second one dies. And then if he copies us again, we can bleed one of them again with our Feast of Blood or something. And then again, there's 50% chance it dies. If we didn't have Unseen Elder, I would feel much worse about this. Playing the larvas first. And I know it's Unseen Elder is a big commitment to counter to that. But he is going first, so we could use that to push for a win uneven. The Lightmaker, hit the armor. See it. Pretty good chance you hit the armor, actually. Zap! That was not the armor. That's alright. So, let's see. It looks like he's playing fairly standard, probably Hyperthin with Fulgrim. The question is he playing Tibor or Imperial Golem? The real questions here. See, mostly Imperial Golem. There's a Viper Witcher Adept. Pretty standard. We could play Feast of Blood, but I want to get some value off of our Flater here. Plus it'll thrive our Larvas since they got to 4. That's nice. And then next turn if we go Feast of Blood or Garkin. Probably Feast of Blood first, then Garkin. Because it'll activate our active Garkin. Again, he'll start getting boosts. Or he'll just pass. That's fine. We just go to a long round 3. If he's playing Hyperthin, that's good for us, because we'll have a lot of time to get value from our bleeding cards. If he's playing Mill, he's not, because he wouldn't have done this. So we'll just go to round 3. He might be playing some kind of ball deck, maybe? We don't have a Heat Wave, but we're not too concerned about losing our guys. They're not that tall, other than She Who Knows. Speaking of that, I really wish she was in our hand right here. Let's see. He has a bleeding that counters out his boosts. We have a point a turn from Garkin, a point a turn from our Flater. They go off twice. So if we play our other Garkin here, we should be fine. Since we end here, he ends, we end with a pass, and it ends immediately, so we get 2 turns of boosts. He gets 1. And there we go. See what kind of hand we can assemble for round 3. This is one of the strongest hand possible. We are missing both Koshchey and Caranthir. If we get She Who Knows, we might push next round, though. I didn't really want to, but if we got Koshchey, She Who Knows, and Caranthir, I would consider it. Wasn't really our plan, but we're losing a lot of value on She Who Knows every time we don't play her for her resilience ability, because it could have just been a Goliath. At least that's how I look at it. I wonder what he'll drop here. Archvan Tortoise. This is another card that seems quite good now. It's a 4. Kind of like the Kiki War Worker. They both have armor interactions that reduce their value. One kills them, one boosts the opponent. One's armor is half as much. Alright, there's Koshchey. We do need Caranthir. There he is. Perfect. This is a nice boost, but oh, there's She Who Knows. This hand, honestly, is about as strong as I could ask for. We don't really want another Endrega Larva, or these other guys, because we don't want to fill our rows up too much for Koshchey, because he's going to fill them up anyway. I'm honestly not sure if he can, is there a Nilfgaard deck that wins here? Maybe full Assimilate wins against this. This round is just going to give us so many points. If we weren't interfered with, I think we get up to about 130 in this situation. 110, 130, I think. As if we have no interference, that's about how many points of value we get. If we count. Yeah, I think that's about how much we get here. So it should be pretty hard for him to stop that. I might actually keep track. I'm curious. He loses a bunch of value there. No lock. He's going to regret that, I bet. Cave Troll's probably a fine starter. He might Purify. He might Invocation this. He still has Sunset Wanderers, which is pretty big for him. We have big swing. This is the last. And then he has he still has Snowdrop plus leader with the guy on top of the deck. That's 24. Still as Reese will lose our Rinse, whatever his name is. We will lose our Cave Troll. That means we do not lose something else though. You'll get Purify for him. I guess we just play Flater, right? There's no reason to set anything else up crazy. We'll hold on to our Queen of the Night for the Purify. As long as he doesn't get like 40 points ahead, I'll be pretty happy here. You guys have a 24 for a play here. Blight Maker. Zap us. Sure.
Defeat them with hunger, crush them with thirst.
I'm guessing he still has his... There's the Sunset Wanderers pulling out. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think he's going to use his leader ability until he plays his Sunset Wanderers and see what the draw is. That could mess him up. Now, we will Parasite down this Reese. I don't want that ability. It'll probably be worth... I'll probably just destroy something by the end or set something to 1. And she who knows the 1. If we don't deal with this now, that is a huge value on the order. There's the Snowdrop plus leader, now that he's drawn his last card for Sunset Wanderers. So this is 24. Harry played 2, so I guess what? He goes to 40... Oh, no leader yet. 47 or something like that. So we are going to go down about 40 points. That's about as far as I'm willing to concede we can still win from as a position, but we have such... Once we get down to Adrenaline for Koshchey, we just have so many points that I think we'll be okay. Yeah, we're down 44. I think we're still fine. Unseen Elder, it's time for him now. We can't really set up our Gale yet. We can't play him without the bleeding out. So we'll just go for our Unseen Elder. If he locks it, we have a Purify still, which is really nice. And then we want to save, hopefully we'll save Gale until after our Koshcheys, because then we can have him on his deploy boost and then get a higher Thrive. So he did have a lock left. We'll Purify that off real quick. That won't be too big of a hiccup in our plans. Alright, he dies. We Purify here. Hopefully he doesn't have any more answers. We are still down, what is this, 28 points? Yeah, still down 28. Better than 43. There's Triss. We will lose our Unseen Elder here. That's fine. It could have been worth more, but okay, so he is, there's the answer. He's playing a third golem. 35 down. And here comes our Caranthir for Koshchey. His Triss, I think, is his big removal. He just played his second lock. He had 2 locks this round and the Triss removal, so I think we're pretty safe here with our Koshcheys. I don't actually think he can kill them, which is going to be a problem for him, that is for certain. Our Detlef might lose a turn. No, I think that looks fine. Zarthius is going to hit the random card. He's going to hit the Imperial Golem. How about Golem? It was Golem. It's always Golem. There's his 17-point play. Pretty big. Now we're down by 43 again. But, the question is, do we use our Force of Nature yet, or do we try and get another Thrive from Gale? Gale hits first. Nah, we use this. Because we'll be fine, because Detlef plays as a 6, that'll still Thrive both, and then we have Gale hitting his Guardian in the back row. Gale's be a 7 and Thrive them both again. We might fill up our melee row, because Gale has to play melee, so we get Thrive, go to 7, we'll be perfectly fine. Plays on my Spines. Ivar Evil Eye. Is he going to kill off a Larval? Yeah, he will. He did the smart thing, killed the ranged row one. Detlef comes down now. And we will give bleeding to a row. If we can get this bleeding on Ivar, that would make our Gale a little bit stronger. That's really why we're doing it on this row, for that opportunity. Alright, not down 44 points anymore. He still has his Dieta for Divination. And his Vigil Forts, right? The Vigil Forts he hasn't played yet. Is he going to Vigil Force Utz or Vigil Force his... Vigil Forcing himself's a +9. Vigil Forcing our What's it? Koshchey is 6 minus. Yeah, it's better for him to offensively deal forts, and he realizes it, so he's going to do that. Offensively, oh, that's not what I expected him to do. Kind of expect to lose a Koshchey there, but I guess that makes sense. The one in our melee row will no longer be getting this value, but they'll thrive them both. He has divination, but She Who Knows is enough to take this. We were down 44 points at some point here, I'd just like to point out, but Caranthir and Koshchey are so strong. There's a divination we mentioned. That'll give him a plus 15 for his play. Not enough. And we'll just drop She Who Knows in for a casual. What is that? 8 thrives. I'll take it. GG. And this was actually a pretty good example of playing against a different deck. Not mill this time. Good game. Alright, let's do one last game here. Loading, like the name. Let's see, so we're on a 2-game win streak for this video this time. Up against the Lined Pockets. Alright, I like this. 2 different decks. They were both tactical decision, but one was mill, one was not. This time we get Lined Pockets. Should be interesting. We have both of our Andromeda Larvas here. That's nice. Flater we'll put back. We have a Garkin, a Gale, and a Flater already. Put back Feast of Blood. I'm not concerned about him. Really the only thing that the Purify is in here for is to remove a Defender for something that we can then hit with Parasite. Mostly Fultist, let's be honest here. The biggest reason Parasite's in here with the Purify is I'm tired of dealing with Fultist. There's just no other answer to Fultist for our deck. And if we get, and Fultist has enough value that can just carry the round, that put us in a losing situation. Hopefully it's not too popular, then we have to worry about it. Alright, so we opened with a Larva. We followed that up with a Bruxa. That makes pretty much sense. Normally what I want to do here is use the Crystal Skull on a Neckarat. We do not have a Neckarat, so I don't really know what I'm going to put it on yet. Well, that's interesting. I forgot that card got buffed. We could just drop our Garkin, right? Drive everything. See, then we drop Flater for more thrives. Then after that we put the Bleeding out from maybe Queen of the Night. Again, the Purify is not something I'm too concerned about. You might poison us, but we're not that tall, where poison is something I actively want to avoid or save an answer to. Alright, we'll just get shot down. He went through our armor there. That gives us a couple more points on our Larva. I'll take that for sure. We get more thrives now from our force, but we'll still play the Flater. No bleeding yet. Thrive's doing a lot of work. Sunset Wanderer is in basically every deck in the game. That card is so strong. But we're not using it. Not in this one, because we're playing Devotion. Was that dip on the Pontar? I wasn't quite looking. Just thinking about Sunset Wanderers being crazy. I don't have a problem with it. I think if it's crazy, well, they'll fix it, but man, that card's crazy. Sunset Wanderer is something else, man. Alright, we'll just put this on her. There's not really a point in saving it. He might pass now. His field's not very strong. He's got 4 more bleeding going on. I also might play another card. Swindle. Do we play Gale? Gale's something I'm not too concerned saving with. Can you Insanity your guy down to a 1, please? I'd love to do that with a Gale. I guess we can kill Core's Blacksmith. We lose the bleeding value for Queen of the Night, but it removes his spender that's not reliant on us having boosts. Although we then boost, so I guess it's fine. So what? It's worth 7. Boost ourselves by 4, it's 11 point swing. We go to... yeah, we're up by 18. This should be good enough, I think. I don't think he really wants to continue. We lose several things here, unfortunately, but we can't kill the Firesworn guy because he has the 1 armor. So I guess this was our only choice. We lose the Garkin boost every turn, but it's not that bad. And he passes, about what I expected here. Now for round 2, what I want to do is get Caranthir Koshchey. This is the general strategy of the deck. We won round 1, go to round 2. Lead them down until we have Caranthir Koshchey for round 3 and a short round 3. That's the game plan. We have the Koshchey and Caranthir, so we're just going to bleed him as much as possible. And this is where She Who Knows comes in as another strong card. It'll often bait out on their big removals. Deathlife would be pretty good too, or Unseen Elder. We have a lot of good cards we could get. That's okay, yes. We'll open with the Larbres, obviously, but like I was saying, the She Who Knows fits very well in our strategy of winning round 1 and then bleeding them round 2 and carrying over to round 3 with a strong combo. She Who Knows fits in that. We can use her as our carryover for round 3, right? We can't save Caranthir Koshchey. Maybe She Who Knows can carry over to round 3. And she can also carry over from 1 to 2, which sets up this bleed very well for us. So I think she fits in quite well, although we don't have too much total synergy to deal with her. None of the relic stuff. Well, maybe Necrot will give us a bunch of value. We have our Caranthir next turn. We could have played Cave Troll first. Alright, we will play Cave Troll first. I was going to say, he doesn't have anything set up. He has a lot of coins. His removal will be very limited, but he clearly has enough now. We still have to deal with Tunnel Drill also, but he hasn't played... I don't think he's going to do it quite yet. I was like, Caranthir Koshchey we're saved for round 3. There's the Heatwave, got that out. We want to play Naglfar to stack to our top of our deck. I want to stack preferably Unseen Elder. What's our worst bronze? I think we have our Parasite still. We could pull Parasite out and then stack Unseen Elder. That's probably our best bet. Yeah, Parasite. Actually, we could stack. We can go for She Who Knows. She won't be able to come down for full value. Yeah, I guess not. I mean, she won't be able to carry over from this without playing our leader, which we don't think we will do. So obviously we want to go for Parasite. We'll stack She Who Knows at a 10 plus Thrives. That's good. I guess Parasite. We don't really want Parasite in round 3. That's basically what this comes down to. And we'll hit that. I don't want him to... If we hit not the Freak Show, he'll probably figure that we're passing. Or, yeah, because if we don't hit Freak Show... Okay, there's a Jackal. He probably knows we're going to pass here. But we're going into our ideal situation. 5-card short round 3, where we have Caranthir Koshchey, Force of Nature. Let's just... This will be an example. Just look how many points this gets. I'm sure you've seen it on the ladder, but every time I see it, man, I love it. Alright, we got She Who Knows. There's Detlef. Give me Unseen Elder. There we go. This is a perfect hand. We have 5 cards here, but we're going to get so much value. We're down a card, but this is so strong that I don't care. Like, at all. I don't think he has much of an option here. Unless he has a Philippa. That's the only thing we have to worry about is Philippa. If Philippa's our Koshchey, that's where we have a problem. Maybe he'll use some coins here, though. A lot of times they'll use their coins here to get a second guy, so that their Tunnel Drill will always... so the Tunnel Drill will still have 2 Crown Splitters next to him, even if you kill the Cleaver. Speaking of Tunnel Drill, that's probably what's about to happen. We're probably about to get Tunnel Drilled. But we get value off Koshchey's armor then, so it's not the worst thing ever. Our answer to Tunnel Drill is basically nothing. But he's out of coins now, so if he Tunnel Drills us, he'll hit us, what is that, I think it's Profit 1? He can only do 3 damage. If he has a 2-point Philippa, that's where we're in trouble. Oh, Bank. If Bank goes up to Tunnel Drill at the top, they can do 9, that would be bad. Oh, he's just going for a Fist Stick. Okay, he's going to go for the Poison approach. Poison's too slow of an answer to this. But he's probably also gaining coins for a Tunnel Drill, but at this point, we've already gained enough Andrega Larvas from our Koshcheys that I don't think it matters. What else could he have? He could have, Professor. You go for Professor, then pay the Tribute. Maybe try and get coins for the Tribute Professor. That kills our Koshchey. Gets 4 coins back. Yeah, there's Professor. So that is what he's going to do. Take out one of our Koshcheys. That's not bad. We're still ahead. still ahead. Unseen Elder or Detlef? Oh, let's go Unseen Elder. Let's put him in the melee row, I guess. Doesn't matter. Not really, but we're spawning larvas in the range row still. It doesn't matter. If we had Oberon King, I still wouldn't have mattered. I just like the melee row better. We have our... There's the Tundra. We're going to lose our Unseen Elder, I'm sure. Fine. 3 damage. Why? I guess we couldn't kill our Koshchey. Alright, we'll go Detlef. We have no Vampire for the extra turn, but we weren't going to use that third turn anyway. The reason we played Unseen Elder first is that he gets a bunch more value, I think, than this. Because the bleeding from this isn't the... Oh, there's Sigi. This is actually going to be a big swing. That's 9 for 3. That's 12 points, where he gets a 16 swing here. Theoretically a 16-point swing. Everything gets used. There's She Who Knows. That's a lot of thrives again. And we're up by 26. So he killed our... He went through Tunnel Drill. He killed off our Unseen Elder. He killed off our Detlef. And we're still got 53 points out of 5 cards in a leader ability. That says something right there. That is a big bounty, though. Ooh. Still not quite enough. GG. And that's the strength of the deck, guys. Worked out pretty well. Back here in the deck editor then, what do we think about the deck? I think it's very strong. And actually the Koshchey, Caranthir Koshchey is really strong, but I don't think people really expected it with this deck. Although you see Fore of Nature, so they think it is, but when you play enough vampires, maybe they think you don't have it. Who knows what people think. But the deck seemed really strong, and unusually, I don't think there's any cards I really want to change. Everything seemed to work out quite well together. There's one option I was thinking about, but let's go over basically what I think of all the cards, right? So, the only thing here in the deck is that sometimes you don't get Caranthir Koshchey. I mean, that's what it is. What it is. If you wanted to more consistently do so, Wild Hunt Riders is an option, which you could put in. But the thing is, at that point, you're losing a lot of synergies. You could probably drop in Drago Larvas for that, honestly, because there's a lot of synergies between Flaters and Necrots and such in here. And we do have a lot of 4 provision cards, which I mentioned when I mentioned the deck. I think the bronzes for this deck are very strong, the 4 provision ones in particular. But there is one thing you could do if you wanted to. You could take out She Who Knows. Her only synergy with the deck is activating Thrives. Other than that, she's only in here for the value of her carryover. If you don't value that as highly as I do, I played Resilience Dwarves for a long time, by the way, so I think Resilience is fantastic and incredible. But if you don't think you can get it off enough, or if it's getting locked all the time, you can take out She Who Knows. And you can take out, if you don't like Gale, I know some people don't like Gale, you can take out Gale, and then say one of the 4s, I don't know, Kiki Moreworker. You have 24 provisions to work with here. And I think this is these cards are the ones you probably want to take out if you want to play with the deck. And there's certainly options, right? Protoflator, for example. And if you're playing Protoflator, Armored Arachas goes well with him. You can have the Armored Arachas bleed something by its base power. That gets a lot of value if it's a high, even if it's like a 5 or a 6, that's really good. And then Protoflator comes down, right? Bleed 3, then boost self-bleed amount of bleeding. And then you could still play Gale here, or you could put in the Alp, like I mentioned earlier. You could play a couple Alps. Right, and then you're just basically just adjusting at this point. But I think that Armored Arachas Protoflator is very strong. It's a good combo of those two, and they get lots of value. So that's one option you can consider. I thought about it. I just like She Who Knows too much to really mess with that. But it's certainly an option. The other thing is, if you think there's too much bleeding, or not enough bleeding, you can always adjust that, right? So Kiki Moreworker can be swapped out for, and the same thing on Conquerors. If you don't like having the 7-point bronzes, there's always the option of, where is he? Plumard's not bad either, right? It gives bleeding. You get 2 bleeding, the second one gives 4 if you have the second one. This used to be really strong, but stuff kind of got power crept where I used to include it in all vampire decks, but now I'm not so sure. But yeah, there's not too much to say about this one. It worked out quite well. I like how the cards work together. Everything seemed pretty good. I think I'll keep this one how it is for now. The only thing that you might consider is a non-devotion version might be alright, because Unseen Elder is your devotion card, right? Unseen Elder on El Conqueror. If you're thinking about playing non-devotion vampires, which I did before, on El Conqueror can actually be pretty easily replaced by Kikimor Worker, so you don't have to worry about not having a 7 for your bronzes for Thrive purposes. Unseen Elder is significantly better with devotion, but he still gets the same number of points, it's just how long it takes to get them. But I think, I think that devotion's where it's at. You can play non-devotion if you want to. I figure I should mention, if you're playing non-devotion, you have access to Heatwave, which is very useful for stuff like Siege. Siege comes up. And then, if they play Ball, you can do it. But overall, I think this deck worked pretty well. And I don't have too much else to say about it, other than I still wish monsters had a 5 damage bronze removal card. Would be nice because, what's it called? The insectoid looking one. Natural Selection, which doesn't quite cut it against most things. It really shows a 5 damage one, but it is what it is. And I also wish there was a in Devotion lock, but monsters don't really have a lot of removal. If you want more, which sometimes you might, you can always add in Striga, but we don't have any of the tall cards to really synergize with that. So you can if you want to, but I think that we don't really have the dominance activations for it. But anyway, this is the deck. Is it better than regular vampires with Blood Scent and maybe Oriana Protoflator? I don't know. I like it better than those. I don't like playing Blood Scent that much anymore. It's those situations where it's not good, like low unit, or you end up in a round where you didn't, maybe you should have spent your charges earlier, but you didn't. And I think Force of Nature is very strong, especially because you can play the Koshchey Caranthir, which honestly pretty much goes in all of my decks at this point. So yeah, that's what I'd say about this. It was good. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time.